with the fourth season now over, and we've had a lot of good shows this season. And it was probably one of the best of, well, not the previous year. We had some new originals and we had some sequels. Going to be mostly focusing on the new ones for this video, because sequels, people would have seen the first series for that, and kind of has an unfair advantage, definitely, if you have your favourites. So today I will be discussing my top 5 favourite anime from the fall 27 season. I'm just going to quickly go over just the 2 rules, basically. Firstly, the scores are purely based on enjoyment. I'll try and delve into as much detail as I can into why I enjoyed it, but it's not going to be like giving a score based on story or music or characters or anything like that. It's just going to be the whole show together. So even if something has a weak story but I really enjoyed all the other aspects of it, it will still likely be on this list, or any other part. It's not going to be like this had a weak story so I can't recommend it, It's much more casual than a completely analytic sort of thing, but at the same time bit more in-depth or discussion focused than some of the more jokey around types you might find. Secondly, shows that haven't finished don't count, but mainly because we've seen plenty of shows go to shit in the second season. Guilty Crown, we all know how that went. I kind of enjoyed that still, but it was definitely worse in the first half. So people who want to see Ancient Magnus Boy on here, sorry, not going to appear. I didn't enjoy it that much anyway, but it's still not going to appear based on those rules. So Black Clover, but I mean that had no chance in the first place anyway. And finally, sequels. They don't count. I mentioned it a bit earlier, but no sequels. We're looking at new shows on their first season, because this is for a recommended list for people to get into, and I want to recommend things that people can just go and watch now, instead of ones that they have to watch the first season for and then the second season. As that is everything, let's jump into the list. Alright, so I know this is supposed to be a top 5, but I kinda need to give an honourable mention to Love Is Like a Cocktail, because it was a really, really, really cute show, and it's like 13 episodes, but like 3 minutes each. You can finish it all in an hour, because even then there's like a minute at the end is the credits. It's a whole minute to the credits. It's a 2.5 minute show basically, and it's just really cute. It's, if you like your drinking, it has some drinking recipes in there, and there's not really much you can say about a 3 minute show, honestly, which is why it's a quick honourable mention. It can't really put in the main list because it's like 3 minutes long, as I said. But if you like your cute things, it's definitely something for you, and definitely something to try. 8.3 out of 10. On to the actual list. New season. So, have you ever wanted to see 12 overpowered warriors try and beat the shit out of each other in a deathmatch scenario? Well, if you have, this is definitely not the show you're looking for, because the fights tend to be a minute long at best. Some die within seconds. It's just a lot of backstory and talking. I mean, it isn't bad in any way. That's why it's on my list, right? But it's quite a lot of dialogue, and if you're not somebody who's into those dialogue shows, you're not gonna have a fun time, really. It's, when I first saw it, I thought it'd be what everybody else expected, a deathmatch with people fighting constantly, but in the end it was a bunch of backstory and a little bit of hide and seek, and it was predictable mostly. The ending wasn't, I don't think. It wasn't the best ending though, to be honest. it it wasn't bad. I'd kind of liked some of the backstories and how the dialogue works out, but it wasn't what I was expecting, so it left sort of a bad taste in my mouth each time. Each character is quite different from the others, of course. You got everybody who they all have their own fighting styles because they all have their own like special skills. Guess it would be a spoiler to mention what they are. Definitely some of them are more powerful than others, but they're all powerful in their own right. And they all have their own, well, if they win, they get their wish. They all have their own wish that they want to do as well. So they all have the reason to win. Other than the fact that if they don't win, they're basically dead, of course. There's not really much to compare it to. I suppose there's other deathmatch shows such as Mirai Nikki or stuff like that. So, but they do it better. Let's be real. If you sound interested in this, watch the 2 first episodes, and you'll pretty much know from there whether you'll like it or not. I say the first 2 because the first one's just setting up the scenario. The second one kind of shows what the rest of the show will be like. So give those 2 a shot if you're interested. 7.6 out of 10. And 4th is Anime Gatois. Probably pronouncing that wrong. That sounded French. Anyway, it's about basically a schoolgirl who gets dragged into an anime club after she discusses a show she watched as a kid with her, I assume, childhood friend that she watched when she was younger, in the middle of class, and then she gets dragged away. Anyway, from there she's basically forced to watch like a ton of shows. She gets straight thrown into the deep end. For the first few episodes, it's a lot of references to other shows and the lifestyle of a anime fan, but it's around 5 to 7. It kind of has a bit of a lull, at least I thought it did, which is why it's not a bit higher on this list, because it just felt like it was going through the motions that it had in the previous episodes and not really doing anything new with it. I think it's episode about 5 to 7. I can't remember the exact numbers, so if that's wrong, don't go looking at me, but it might just be a difference in opinion. But the later episodes are really, really good. I really enjoyed those ones, so it's worth sticking through those like 3 episodes in the middle to just get to those ending episodes, because it's really actually worth it to watch. And the meta jokes kind of get weirder and a bit, I can't really say without spoiling this, it just gets weirder and gets more entertaining as it goes on. So, and the first few ones are fine as well. You get your references, you get the plot set up, and it all comes together quite neatly in the end, I think. And it's certainly an entertaining watch for anybody who's pretty much, even if you're a casual, you'll still enjoy it. So as long as you like anime, you'll be fine. So 8.2 out of 10. And for third is Blend S, or as I be calling it, basically memes to anime, because if you like anime memes, it's basically got a ton of them. Even if you don't, you probably ran into them. It was pretty funny. It achieved every episode, and also had some like heartwarming moments, some like, oh that's cute moments, those ones. Basically is set in a character cafe. Basically, you might have heard of these in Japan. Usually, you got like your maid cafes, or if you go to the extremes, you got tsundere cafes. But you can find stories about those online. But anyway, it's about the news, which has all the different characters. You got the tsundere, you got the sadist, you got the little sister, you got the older sister, and you got the surprise. So each character has an appeal depending on your personal preferences. Of course, Kaho's the best. Don't even try arguing that. So you have the group of people who work in the character cafe. You watch their relationship evolve from episode 1 as the cast slightly evolves over time. I think some of the characters took long to get in there. I think it took like 7 episodes to get the full cast, which was honestly too long. I think definitely I was thought they would do like, because they started with the 4, and then at the end of episode 1 they had the 5 with Micah. So you would have thought, I think it was 2 more. So you think it would take to episode 3, but it takes way longer than that. I think it starts with the 4. I'm not 100% sure though. No, I think it starts with the 4 in episode 1, including Micah. I think I got myself messed up there. Anyway, I'm getting off topic here, I'm sorry. So there's most of the episodes take part in that cafe, but of course they have some that goes out. But the cafe acts as a nice like home base for the show to always go back to have like the random conversations that don't really need a certain situation to take a part of. And of course it's where most of it's going to happen anyway, so you get used to it pretty quickly. The show kind of focuses on Dino's and Micah's relationship. Honestly, I think that the main relationship interest is between Kaho and Akatsuki. It's much more interesting to me, but definitely as they seem like a match where Dino and Micah seems very at least one-sided to say. It's kind of not interesting to watch that as much as it is to watch Kaho and Akatsuki. So that's mine, but that's probably just my preference speaking. So in short, funny, endearing, and it's cute. So 8.6 out of 10. Number 2, we have Sisters All You Need. I don't know how I ended up watching this, to be honest, because the title is, well, as you can tell, weird. The first minute and a half is even weirder, to the point where people dropped it in those minute and a half. But somehow I made it through that, and it was a really good show because that first minute and a half was basically just to throw people off. You find out after that it's basically the novelist's new book that he's writing, and you have his editor who's like, what the hell is this? So, thank God it's like that. And like a lot of other people, when I saw the title and ended up giving it a shot, I was expecting something like a Manga Sensei, which we all know how that went. But in the end, it actually ended up kind of making fun of Manga Sensei in a way, but at the same time, not kind of, it gets inspired from it. So you have the main character who's basically a novelist. He's not too popular, but his books do sell. And then you have his friends. Yeah, you have his 2 author friends, and then you have his friend from when he went to college, I think it is. And then you have his editor, and you have his younger sibling who's not related by blood. We've all heard that phrase before. So yeah, he is a siscon who wants a sister, and he's perfected in a way, but he's not even the biggest pervert in this show. We all know that's Nayu. Sorry, just brings back some interesting dialogue as you get into it. It's definitely not one of those safe shows. It definitely has some really weird moments, which is why I kind of struggle to recommend it. But it has a real... It's a very much a character show, so if you're not into character shows, it's not going to be something for you. But the main appeal of it is the chemistry between the characters, how their relationships form over time and evolve, of course, and that's basically the story in a nutshell. And you also have these episodes, or part of episodes, I should say, where they just play some board games, and I found that quite an interesting way to expand on the characters and to give them situations which in the scenario of the show would never allow, because you can pretty much just say it's a board game, done, move on, and do the situation that is wanted to be done. So, and this whole episode is basically dedicated to it as well. So, those were very, very interesting to me. So, yeah, you do have your fan service side as well, mostly coming from you, as I said, but it's what you would really expect from ecchi shows. So, you got your shows like High School DxD, which are very heavily ecchi. So, there's no uncensored one yet, but wait for the Blu-ray release for that, and I'm sure it will come like that. I think there was some mention of it being uncensored, so if you're that desperate, wait for that. But I mean, got some hentai for that. But no, it's really good. It's character focused, and it's got some fan service to keep your attention as well. If you just go get past the title and the first minute and a half, and you'll be good. I enjoyed it. I think you should at least try it out as well. I gave it a 9.2, so on to the next, I guess. And for number one on the list is very heavily biased towards my preference. It's just because I love my romance drama animes. I can't deny it is incredibly biased. If you aren't into the romance drama, consider the number two as my number one, because this is just, bias. It's my preference in what shows I watch. I try and watch all the good ones within the romance drama genre. I do like my rom-coms as well, so Toradora, all that sort of thing. But definitely love the romance ones, so this is very rare. But if you're somebody like me who loves romance, it's pretty much an easy choice from this season, honestly. Basically you have the 5 main people, each character has their own love interest, but they also have their own goals. It's not just 100% focused on relationships, it's very much focused on it most of the time. However, you got the one who wants to save her photography club. You got the one who wants to get into university. You got the one who wants to get a job after they leave. One who wants to go off to a different part of the country and study there as well. So you all have those ones who have different goals, and they end up clashing and end up affecting the relationships that they have and where they can go. I'm sure if you've been paying any real attention to this, you know that there was production issues with this, and it was pretty much 1 week where it was just completely delayed, so there wasn't any there. The animation quality wasn't the best. I mean, I'm pretty sure in 1 week I could count the frames on one hand in each scene, but because it was a very laid back and subtle show, it didn't benefit, but it didn't really get harshly affected by these issues, because there was never a lot of movement. It was always just, it was dialogue, and suddenly it's like, a small eye change or a smile or something which gave across the message they were trying to do during those scenes. And that's obviously not a lot to do during those scenes. You don't have to change a lot. And even with that, it had a lot of changing scenes, and the music was really good. It suited it well. So all these issues don't really actually affect it too harshly, and it's very easy to look past. Although to some people, if you're like really, really paying attention to these, you will see it, but it's not that much of an issue. I have to give them some faults for how they dealt with it, although it was their production issues in the first place. It was because of them, so it was still their fault, but they dealt with the issues that were brought up decently well. Now, back to the show. It felt very mature. It was very realistic. There wasn't any stupid shouting. There wasn't like any misunderstandings taken out of, not taken out of context, over exaggerated, I should say. It's no like, you accidentally did this, so I'm gonna slap you. It was all mature, and, well, I say mature, but there are some parts where it's childish in a way, but it's a bunch of teenagers who fall in love maybe for the first time, and so it's realistic. It's probably a better way to put it. It's not mature because the characters aren't mature. Portraying them as mature would kind of take away from it, really. So it does it really well. It doesn't make them at like 2-year-olds, but also doesn't make them at like 30-year-olds who had plenty of experiences in love, of course. So if you like your romance anime, this is something you probably want to look. It's got marked down harshly because of a few production issues, which I really think harmed it way too much. So I think anybody who's into the romance or wants to give the genre a shot should definitely check out Just Because. 9.4 out of 10. And that pretty much covers up the entirety of my list. There's not really much else to say. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you give some of these a shot. Definitely the top 3. That's all. If you disagree with the list, do let me know why down in the comment section below, and I'll see you next time.